Welcome back to CFB Prime. You know the time it is. We're going to get into it. Blow the damn whistle. I'm your host, Nino Brown. We're going to get into spring games. We're going to be talking about two of these games, kind of on the East Coast side. We got the Tennessee Volunteers, and we also got the BC Eagles. I had the pleasure of attending Alumni Stadium and watching BC spring games, so we'll get into that one a little later. Right now, we're going to talk about Tennessee, Josh Heupel, Rocky Top. We're going to address the elephant in the room, which is the QB position. We'll run it down. We'll talk about my guy, five-star freshman, Nico Iamaleava. Before that, let's talk about Joey Milton. Right? All eyes are on Joey Milton. I know, and I will respect Heupel. During the pro day for Hendon Hooker, a lot of people were asking about Joey Milton and wanted to see if he was going to throw. And Heupel says, "Nah, this is Hooker's day." But it's nice to see, the buzz is around Joey Milton. I'm personally not a Joey Milton guy. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. All right, but people like Joey Milton, so it is what it is. He was 9 for 13, 79 yards, and a touchdown. He had a nice deep ball down the right sideline, 39-yard pass to Caleb Webb. All right. And then the very next play rolls out for a 4-yard crispy pass to Webb for the touchdown. But the things that I always hate on Milton about was the deep ball accuracy, and he struggled many times with the deep ball. Right, he was, what he does well. He was good at the short, intermediate stuff. He's excelled at that his whole collegiate career, and that's what he was good at. It was the deep ball. It's always been hit or miss, and it was kind of evident in this spring game. It was, multiple drives in the second quarter alone were just one first down or 3 and out for the white team. So I don't know. And then, at the end of the third quarter, he got sacked again by Austin Lewis, which ended a drive. So I'm not sold on Joey Milton. People are sold on Joey Milton. We'll have to see. I'll talk about my guy a little bit. All right. I'm not going to sugarcoat my guy either. He had his moments where he wasn't too good, but he did have that moment about everybody. He flushed out of the pocket to the right side. He threw a dot to his 4-star freshman tight end, Ethan Davis, right? Yeah, he zipped it over the defender's hands 30 yards down the sideline. Like these are the things, these are the tools from the 5-star freshman that we want to see from the top prospect QB. You got Dante Moore, you got Nico, you got Jackson. These are the guys, right? And he was out there showing off, right? But he made a mistake late. Throwing the double coverage in the corner of the end zone. He should have been picked off. The defenders just couldn't make the play. That's in a game in the SEC. That's getting picked off, and that's a red zone turnover. We can't have that. But that's the youth, right? No excuse. Can't do it. But live and learn. He went 8 for 16 for 112 yards. In the second quarter, though, my guy for the Orange team, 3 straight completions, right? And ended the possession because running back freshman Cam Sheldon fumbled the ball. We'll get to him. He did have a day, but that was one of the sour moments for him. Highlight guy on the QB side in the spring game is Gaston. Well, he was the first touchdown pass came from him. Actually, he had the first 2 touchdown passes. He was 8 for 12, 94 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. Right, he had a touchdown pass to Dayton Sneed, well placed ball to Dayton Sneed, the corner end zone for 6-yard touchdown. He followed that up on another touchdown drive. Right, this time capping off by hitting Hunter Salmon for a 6-yard touchdown. I mean, this guy was just throwing the ball well. It was nice to see. We'll have to see. Do I think he's going to be passing these guys up? No, not at all. But we're going to see what happens, going forward. Maybe he's a portal pop. We don't know. We'll see what happens. He threw a pass across the middle that was deflected by the intended receiver, though. And a redshirt freshman, Cameron Miller, reached down, caught that ball for the pick. So he did make a mistake, but he was on point for most of the game. What's in this RB room? They're loaded. I wasn't aware the Heupel was in his bag in this offseason with these recruits. I mean, just these 2 freshmen, Deshaun Bishop and Cameron Sheldon, they look good in the spring game. Obviously, Jabari Small, Dylan Sampson, and Jalen Wright didn't play. But, Cameron Sheldon's 6'2", 215. He's a 4-star freshman, right? He got plenty of work in a variety of places. He was the primary option at running back for the Volunteers. Like I mentioned, with the Small and right out, not participating. Sheldon showed off there as explosiveness. And we heard that on that touchdown run. We also lined up as a receiver. Like my man's hands, he had 3 receptions for 43 yards. He was everywhere. 10 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown, right? He gets off the line of scrimmage well. He's good in routes. It's talent wins, okay? Talent gets on the field. I know Jabari Small is RB1 at the moment, and Sampson's pushing for some time. Talent wins. You will see Cameron Sheldon getting time in this lineup at some point during the year. Now, Deshaun Bishop had 24 carries for 88 yards. He got bulk of the work on the ground, flashing some good looking elusive when he was in space. All right. 5'10, 195, three-star freshman, two-time Tennessee Mr. Football winner. He's no joke, but obviously Sheldon was just showing out. He had that big touchdown run. It was all over the Angry Blue Bird. Everybody saw it. Um, so these are guys to look out for. Now, are they going to be week one guys taking reps? Probably not. Sheldon, we'll see what happens. It's a long time before winter games start. He could be eating late in the games, especially if it's blowouts. And if you give him some time and you tease him a little bit of reps, he's the type of kid that I don't think is going to let off the pace. So we'll see what happens. Talk about the wide receiver room in this game. Um, all the main guys didn't play. Squirrel White didn't play. Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton, Ramel Keaton, those guys didn't play. Chase, I'm sorry, Chase Nimrod. I was making sure that I was going to say that right. Nimrod. He's a two-sport athlete, right? Track and field and football. Right. He's a redshirt freshman. He had 3 receptions for 15 yards. He did have 2 drops, but he did some nice work over the intermediate, find a couple soft spots in the coverage. He looked good. Like just carving him up inside. Would have had a better day had those two didn't have those 2 drops. And then we already spoke about Kalen Webb. He had a touchdown from Milton. He was 3 receptions for 50 yards. Obviously, bulk of that coming on that one drive. He's 6'3", 196. So they got a lot of options in that wide receiver room. Heupel's going to get these guys eating. These guys aren't going to be anything special in the beginning of the year, but as the season goes on, there was obviously a rapport with Webb. You might see Webb a little bit, towards the middle of the season, late in as we go. Now, the tight end room is stacked. You have Ethan Davis, Dayton Sneed, Hunter Salmon. I mean, these guys just balled out. It was a tight end day in the spring game. Everybody had touchdowns. I mentioned Sneed and Salmon already. Ethan Davis was 3 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown. There was a lot of buzz about this guy coming into this game. Unfortunately, he went down late with an injury. He had a nice game with a few catches. He landed hard with just 4 minutes to play left in the game, and he ended up coming up holding his shoulder and collarbone, and he exited the field. As of right now, I haven't heard anything. An update. We will keep you posted as we go. But he's a promising guy for them going forward, barring the injury. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, Joshua Josephs and James Pierce entered this game with expectations emerging as an edge rusher. Joseph, he indeed finished with a tackle for loss, played well, right? Was around the ball a lot. They got to make up for Byron Young and Latrell Bumpus being gone. Now, can you pair the small sample size of Joseph that we saw with Norman Lott, right? Because he transferred over from Arizona State, Norman Lott, and he had a good spring game. On the second drive, he was in Milton's neck. He got him for a sack, right? And then he combined with Caleb Perry for a stop in the backfield on a first down run. So he did well. And then again, late in the game, he had a 6-yard sack on Joey Milton. So he was eating. On the other on the secondary side, Christian Konya made a nice play on a breakup ball. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, Cameron Miller, he had a tip drill, got that pick. And then at the end of the game to close it out, he had a sack. So, like, there's a lot to be excited about in Tennessee. But let's not pump the tires too much. Let's not get big heads about anything. I'm not going to, hate any more or any less on Joey Milton for this game alone. It's spring. It is what it is. Just be aware that Ncaa is coming. He's hungry and he wants in. I'm going to go with an over-under because this is blow the damn whistle. Shh. We're going to go over under 5. 5 games. If Joey Milton ain't right in the ship, Nico Iamaleava may be taking over as QB1. Now let's hop on this train and get back to where I'm at, out in Boston. We're going to talk about the BC Eagles. Last year was bad. It was just a bad atmosphere to be around. Outside of Zay Flowers, who had an unbelievable year, could have go on to be a first-round draft pick this year. I mean, there wasn't really much to talk about. Obviously, quarterback Phil Jerkovich is transferred out, but he was injured last season. It was a bad scene. Now they're coming in. They got some new faces. They got the number 9 ranked QB in the freshman class in Jacoby Robinson. He looked good out there. He's a dual threat quarterback. He had a couple nice passes. It was nice to see him early. He was in that first drive. And I put this out on Twitter. Listen, this kid was on the first drive, right? You had the starter in Moorhead, and then the next coming about on the excess drive coming back. it was Jacoby Robinson. And that speaks volumes. But true freshman, with there's two other quarterbacks on that team, he's looking like he could be QB2, backing up Ethan Moorhead. Moorhead looked good. He seemed like he had to, shake the rust off early. A couple throws were off a little bit, not by a lot, just slightly. But he looked good. He's got command. His cadence of the offense looks good. Everything was well. He threw some good balls in the second half. He did get picked off twice, but like I said, he did have the touchdown pass to my guy Dino Tomlin, was out there dancing in the end zone. Dad was there watching him. They got a deep wide receiver room. Ryan O'Keefe transferred from UFC. He's there. James Griffin, he was injured. He didn't play. So they got depth. Dino, right? They have Taj Robinson, who played well. He caught 2 or 3 balls down the sideline. I got up there and got him. The running backs is a question, right? The offensive line is healthy. They got probably going to rotate 6 to 8 guys out. But the running backs is what they need to establish. Moorhead said, he was under center for most of the game. He said, being under center helps disguise, the play action, helps set things up, ball fakes, which is 100% true. But we got to have running backs that actually penetrate in line. But it's hard to tell in these spring games because you get within a yard of touching a guy and refs are blowing whistle. They touch the ball, get close to you. Could you have broke the tackle? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. Galwell looked okay. I think he looked a little bit more explosive than last year. We'll see. Alex Broom had a nice little run in the first quarter, cut it up to the left side, took it for about 12 yards. I think if we could get Alex Broom as RB1, let him get the first and second down carries and the pass receptions, and let Godwell come in on third and bang the goal line, and maybe fourth down. I think we can get something rolling there. James Franklin as a tight end, was a freshman last year. He looked good coming back into it as a second. You can just see the development and growth. The routes were crisper. He was doing pretty good at the run blocking. Now, defensive side of the ball, the coach Hafley said that the defense was more prepared going into this game than the offense. Obviously, a lot of new pieces on the offensive side. Defense is pretty much the same. Adoree Jackson just had a day. 2 picks. The defense total had 6 turnovers, 3 interceptions. He had a pick in the end zone in the first quarter, on the very first drive. But he just literally waited on his guy in the front of the end zone. Pass was above him to the corner. He just waited last second, jumped off his guy, one hand, snag it. You're going to see it on the TV, man. My guy was balling out, And then Elijah Jones, he had a day too. He had a tip drill. The ball wasn't caught, but he knocked it down. He moved in the box, playing nickel. Something to watch this year. You know what I'm saying? He's inside. I think he's going to have a good year. He commands that secondary well. Listen, I could see the Boston College Eagles going bowling this year. I can see the 6 to 7 wins. They kind of need it. The fact is if you ain't getting it, there's a possibility they could be blowing the whistle on a couple of people on the coaching staff. Is it their fault? Maybe, maybe not. Hafley's coming off, he started in the 1 year and then he had the COVID year. So we'll have to see. I think he does deserve an extra year, even if they don't do well this year. But what they got, the way it sounds, the way this team seems to be talking, the vibe I'm seeing, I think we're heading in the right direction over in BC. I'm not going to blow the whistle on them now. I want to see what's going on. Guys to watch out for, Dino Tomlin. I'm telling you right now, the growth. He was running crisp routes. He was getting separation all over the field. They didn't target him much. I don't know if it was, Moorhead was kind of under pressure for a few times, and there were a few throws where he was off. But man, Dino looked good. He had that, that catch on, he burnt coverage. He thought I spoke to him. He thought it was man. It was zone, but he just got the guy off the line, just took him to the corner. Nice catch. You can see that on the TV as well. Listen, BC's could possibly be back. The Vols are probably here to stay. Who will be the quarterback? We'll have to see. I say it's Ncaa. How long will we go? I got 5 out there. Until next time in CFB Prime, you know the deal. I'm Nino Brown. Blow the damn whistle.